media stores built into the Graphite system have access to their own dedicated USB port, as well as network transfer. So through the network, we can access that drive as a storage location, therefore allowing the USB to always be plugged in to be leveraged as a source for dedicated graphics and show file storage. So using FileZilla, you could create a site. We have the Graphite entered its location, its FTP file transfer protocol, and then just use a normal log on user and password. User and password will open up the FTP from the Windows side into that Linux system and have access to the USB. So when we connect, it will create the connection and it will open it up for us. We want to go to the USB. So on this USB folder, I have a folder structure, so I can jump down to stills, and here is where all of my stills are kept on this USB. Folders can be named whatever you want. Here locally on my PC, I've navigated to where I've got a bunch of images that I want to make available. So I'm going to drag the David Ross image into my stills. It will transfer it so that it is now directly accessible at any time as a media item. In the Media Manager on the left-hand side, I have my navigation of the plugged-in USB drive, as well as the parameters for the selected item. So here, with this selected, I can now add it to the media store channel that I'd like to send it to. So for now, we'll select Media Store 2, and you'll see that nothing has been assigned yet. As soon as I add this now onto a channel, it auto-assigns a media ID number. It also gives me the ability to set the X and Y position, as this is an 800 by 800 image. For now, we can just leave it where it is. So this image is now available to us. It's in Media 81, and we can set parameters. And obviously, it's now loaded into the RAM cache of the channel. In Graphite, Media Store Channel 1 and 3 have 1 GB of RAM cache. Channel 2 and 4 also have a gigabyte of RAM cache. Stills are simply dragged and dropped into the location, or you highlight a channel and you go ahead and you double click. It'll bring up the queue, and on the second click of the double click, it would have transferred it. And it loads it very quickly from that USB into the media store. With an animation, we're doing something a little bit different. With these, we have to take the animation and load it into a channel. So for now, we'll go to Media Store 2 and we'll load this. So the animation has to load in. It's 31 frames. Now, once it's loaded, it's available because it's now cached in that 1 gig. With animations, I am able to see that it's got a key channel, that it has multiple frames, so it's a movie or animation file, and of course that it has associated audio with it and giving us an audio channel. Once this is loaded, it is available in the system as a media wipe. We notice that its media number is 2. It's already been pre-assigned with a cut frame of 17. Now currently it's using frame 2 as the thumbnail. So if we change this to frame 17 and hit enter, it will update, and now our thumbnail is relevant. We'll cover how to do media wipes as a separate tutorial. As part of the Media Store database functions, when you're highlighted on the item in the folder, you're able to set things like autoplay, looping, reverse, shaped, and mute. Autoplay is an auto function where as soon as it goes on air, it'll play. With a media wipe, this isn't necessarily required, because it'll automatically play when taken to air anyway. Looping are for things like backgrounds. So if I went to our gunmetal and I wanted this as a looping background, then that will load the video and the alpha into channels 1 and 3, and it's going to load up. This one, you'll see we use looping. It has autoplay, it's shaped. You'll notice it has a key channel, and it also has a video file. However, it has no associated audio file with it, so there's no audio. Also, playlists can be created on your channels. So each channel can be broken open, and I have the ability to add multiple files so that a playlist can be controlled from the Media Manager. If we look at stills, I could drag in a bunch of different still images. And now these images will be loaded into RAM cache so that they're available. And every time that they're stepped through, now they're instantly available. The channel can be ejected, and with the clip properties, you have the play, you have the requeue, the looping function, you've got the direction you want it to play out, forward, reverse, and then you have the requeue function. These parameters, when set, looping and reverse play, do not affect the default in the database. These are the instance of it being used right now on the channel. So if I have something that has a default set for loop, when I drag it in, the loop will be enabled, but it could be disabled temporarily while in use on the channel. Pretty straightforward in how the MediaStore can be used. All of these elements can also be built as part of our custom controls. So when we look at custom controls, it is possible to build a custom control, utilize the MediaStore, be able to load media items, define attributes for items, attach GPO attributes, channel functions, so toggle play, move to frame 1, clear channel, reset media. You could capture the display, capture a specific source, capture a specific alpha, capture a alpha source, set your playback speed, perform a capture, and also delete media captures. So being able to do all the functions that can be triggered from the menu right inside of a custom control. For captures, you're able to pick which MediaStore you want to capture and even pick the ID number. So this way, it could be a capture that you want to repeat over and over and over again, as opposed to capturing the next item. Your capture source for each MediaStore, you can pick which source it's capturing from. You can picture whether or not it's to capture with alpha or not with alpha. If you're capturing an alpha, you want to be able to set the appropriate source for the alpha to capture. When looking at the MediaStore, you can enable the MediaStore to go into EDE mode or playback mode. It automatically goes into playback mode when you load a still. It also automatically goes into playback mode at the end of capturing a still. When we look at the attributes section, this is where we can set the parameters, and these are what get applied now to the MediaStore that is in that channel. Load, being able to load any media ID either from the internal samples, from the USB, and the ID number and which channel that you want it to load to. If we want to leverage the Graphite system and use those MediaStores as stills inside of our graphics system as well, we can add them as frame buffers. Here you see on the output monitor that we've got our 3 frame buffers, our Graphite CG output and our 2 clip channels. We can also add additional frame buffers based off of the MediaStore channels. Edit, hardware setup, and we want to add a device. We're going to pick a Roslink connector. And now we want to type in the IP address of our Graphite engine. Quickly find out what that IP address is. We can go to Menu, Configuration, go to Network. This is the address that we want to send it to. Obviously, this can be different based on whatever topology you have, or it's still set to the default of 192.168.0.123. And we're now going to enter what our IP address is. The first one we'll set up is for channel 1. This will be MediaStore 1, and it'll use MediaStore 3 as its alpha channel. You have the option of setting it so that on a clear command of the frame buffer, it will send a black frame to clear out the MediaStore. For channel 1, we're going to enable this just so that we can see how this works. You don't have to worry about the username and password as it's currently set to defaults. If the defaults were changed, this is where you could override them. You'll notice right away it has locked to the input. We'll go ahead and we'll add the second input, channel 2, though in this case we'll leave this one without sending the clear so that it's obvious what it's doing. We'll use the pie chart as our first example. We'll call this group Media Stills, as it will only transfer still images, and we'll make sure that transitions are always cuts. Now, when we change the frame buffer, you'll see now frame buffer 4 and 5 are available. Those are our ROS-link or our MediaStore channels. In our template data, we could change label 1. So now we have our graphics set up. So here with the MediaManager open as well, we'll see how this transfers into the system. So we'll go ahead and put Media 1 on program so it's clear, and we can put Media 2 in preview. When that first graphic is taken on air, it now transfers it into the media buffer and then does the cut after it has loaded and is available for the frame memory. So now we have our graphic exactly how we filled it out, and it's available for us directly in the media store. And if we were to duplicate this, you can see that on a back-to-back, it will update directly inside the media store frame buffer and do a back-to-back without any interruption in the online video. So that's very helpful in how that works. Now, if we clear the channel, it will replace this with black so that it would be keyable. If we look at our virtual panel, and if we go to key 4 on our virtual panel, and we put MediaStore 1 into that virtual panel, we go ahead and we cut that key on air. We'll put MediaStore 2 underneath of it, and we'll make sure to include the key so that we can see in preview. When we bring MediaStore 2 on, it functions in the same method. It'll go ahead and it'll render that still frame into the MediaStore directly from our sequencer and from our expression. Now, if we clear the frame buffers, you'll notice the difference. So MediaStore 2 has cleared out. In the sequencer, it is no longer online, so it's not rendered. However, on the panel, because Media 1 you can see is cut on air, but there's nothing that's blocking it from the background. So as we cut on the background, you can see that it was left clear. So let's watch that again. We have something that's on air, and that's keyed over. So as that key is enabled, that's a full screen key. If it was a lower third, we would just have our graphic of a lower third. When we cleared it out, it sends black through so that that key, even though on air, will not obstruct and affect the on-air look. However, we set up frame buffer 2 so that, or MediaStore 2, which in this case is frame buffer 5, we set it up so that that channel doesn't send the black image. And so this still will always be kept in there and can either be cleared out by the operator, simply by going to MediaManager. They could always eject that channel. If the media stores are not being used, or if only MediaStore Channel 2 is being used for media wipes, one of the other features that can be used is the media preview. If I want to preview a graphic and be able to see it in the multi-viewer, instead of having to bring it online, verify it, take it offline, we can use one of these MediaStore buffers as our preview channel. So let's go down into the hardware setup again, and we'll use channel 1 again, and you'll notice when we come to preview and monitor, we can select what our preview is coming from. Here, we'll use that ROS-link output. So now, when we're looking at our system and we can see in our multi-viewer, when I select a graphic that I want to look at bringing on air in channel 1 of my CG, so now when we click on our on our text, and we have our text, we can go ahead, change any of the text in that, and as we've changed that text, it will render into that frame buffer. So if we looked at Media 1 in preview, that text item. So if we change that from breaking news to tonight, now it will render that, update it so that it's correct, and when it's taken online, exactly how that text was displayed is what we will see, and when we resume it, that text goes off. We move to our next graphic. That graphic is going to update. It's going to show in our preview channel so that when we bring in that graphic, what we see is what we get. The first frame is transparent so that they can key on and key off. It wouldn't be possible to preview it on the channel without first having to remove the key, view it so that we saw it, get rid of it again, put the key back on, and then take it again. By leveraging the Media Store and turning the Media Store into a preview channel, now I can rely on the graphics system always being able to stay on air and hot. I can view what it's going to look like and then go ahead and transition my graphic on air as needed. I previewed it, it looked great, go ahead and take it off. As always, if there's any questions or if there's something that you'd like to see, please send it to switchers@rossvideo.com and we'll get it up as soon as we can. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.